Okay, so in the last session, we discussed about algorithm. So what is an algorithm? It's a step-by-step approach to solve any problem. If you want to solve something in a more perfect way, or if you want some overview of what you're doing, you have to create a algorithm. Okay, and then the flowchart is a pictorial representation of your algorithm or your program. Why we require algorithm and flowchart is what to ensure that you are going in a right way, and whatever you are going to build is actually planned in a correct way. Okay, if anything needs to be changed, you can change it during the time, or before you start creating your entire thing. Okay. Okay, so now let's start with Python programming. Python programming is an open source. Okay, so whenever any question you get regarding Python programming, you should definitely write this open source. Okay, any idea what do you mean by an open source?
Open source, like anyone can access it, and
Very good. And it's a open means it's a free to download, free to use. Even if you feel like, okay, few things are not working out, you can suggest, even you can write it and submit it back to them. Okay. So these are some open source, in the sense is available for everyone. That is what this. And then object oriented. Okay. Object oriented in the sense everything in Python is considered to be object based, and it's a high level programming language. Okay, so what you haven't worked with C and other programming, so no, don't confuse with this. So high level programming language, it can easily understand, okay, what it is. Okay, high level in the sense you can also mean it like it can be used for a versatile fields of working. Okay, so that is a high level programming language. And in even more, you can just think about like the programming language which has its own compiler, its own interpreter to work with. So, compiler and interpreter, for example, if you are using your Python is a language, right? If you want to communicate with a computer, you need a language. But what you are typing is in English, right? So import something, you're typing it, but the computer has to understand it, right? So in between, like if our human, our program and your computer has something called compiler. Okay, it will convert your language into an understandable language to the computer.
okay.
Okay, so whenever Python programming, any question related to Python programming, you have to write open source, object oriented. It's a high level programming language. This is very, very important.
Okay.
And then this is developed by Guido van Rossum. Okay, so he is the he is the founder of Python. You can just talk about Guido van Rossum. And in 1991, he developed this particular program for your complete thing. Okay.
Okay.
So any queries till this point?
No,
Okay, almost Python is used in everywhere. You cannot you cannot count anything without Python. Even if you take Disney Hotstar, how they have designed it, at least a script, a part of a script will be there. Even if you take Netflix, everywhere you can find Python into it.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the features of Python. What are these things? Like it's easy to understand. Like you don't want to write a big line of codes, because I'll just show you a sample program in C. Okay, so adding two numbers in C. Okay, just to see the output, like how you can simply to add two numbers, you have to write this much code. Okay, you should start with this include stdio.h main number one, number two, sum. You have to initialize the variable. Okay, these are the variable which we discussed in the last session, and then you have to you have to add the two numbers, getting the two numbers, printing the two numbers, and everything. If you see the same thing in Python, it's very very easy. Okay, so adding a two numbers in Python is very easy like this. A, simply go ahead and type A, B, it will come. Okay, it's an easiest program ever compared to anything. Okay, so visualize. So let me just open something. Okay, so this is the easy one. Okay, and it's an expressive, it's free and open source. So whatever we discussed in the introduction part, free, open source, high level programming. Okay, you can add it here. It's a high level programming. It's a portable. In the sense you can easily use Python and to create your website, to create your application, mobile application. If you wanted to go ahead with the web scraping, everywhere you can use Python. That is what it's portable and object oriented. Okay, it's also based on the objects.
Okay.
Next one is an extensible. You can use Python. You can extend Python. You have a lot of libraries in Python. For example, if you take your mobile phone, okay, so whether your mobile phone comes with all the software, whatever you want, all the apps, whatever you want.
No, we have to install a few.
Very good. So you have to install it every time. So that we call it as a separate app. Likewise, in your Python, you have libraries. Okay, if you wanted to go ahead with statistics, if you want to do some mathematical related thing, you have to import the math library from there. If you wanted to do something like um, web scraping, you have to import that web scraping library. And it is you can use your Python in any along with any other language. Okay, so that is
Okay.
what extendable. Embeddable, you can embed Python into, like, you can just make this as a script and include it in anywhere. Interpreted, that is what I told, like it can easily understood, it can easily understand the concepts of Python. And you have an inbuilt interpreter which converts your language into a machine language, and in turn it will convert the machine language to your language, our human readable language.
Okay.
Okay, and it has a large standard library for everything. You have a library for that to ask, like your app. And then it's a GUI programming. GUI in the sense graphical user interface. Okay, what is this GUI? So if you take your any website, if you, even if you take Gmail, so you can see this is what UI, we call it as GUI, means graphical user interface. How the user is communicating with the website. So here you should have, see, for once I see this, I can easily understand. Okay, this is, if I wanted to use it for my work, I can click this. If I want to, if I have the account, I have to sign in. If I want to create a new account, I can create it. Okay, this is
Yeah.
what how a user interface should look like. So with Python, you can create a very good GUI. It's a very good GUI based programming, and it is dynamically typed. Okay, this is what we call it as a dynamic typing. You don't want to go and install, and you don't want to declare the variable. It will automatically understand. Okay, this is what, this is a string function. This is an integer. This is a string variable. This is an integer variable. It will automatically understand all these things.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the features. From these features, like if it is asked in 5 mark, you should at least write 6 features.
Okay.
Okay, easy, expressive, extensible. So I think in E itself you have almost um 4 E's are there. I think E power 4. You can just make it as easy, expressive, extensible, embedded. Okay, these are E's.
Okay.
Okay, E4, F is for free and open source. EFGH, likewise you can just remember. G is for GUI programming. H is for high level programming.
Okay.
Okay, so EFGH only, I think I is, okay, I is interpreted. Okay, I is there.
Okay.
Okay, A B C D. You can start with D. Okay, D, E power 4, F G H I. At least till this, if you write, it is good. Okay, 5. And then you can easily understand object oriented programming. OP is for object oriented programming. Okay, instead
Okay.
of IPL, you can think about OPL. It's an object level programming, portable and large standard library, or library. Just think about library.
Okay. Library and then portable, object oriented. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just sending this to you. I will just make it as a short form. So D E power 4. Okay, so I'm just making it in the inside it E F G H I and then O P L. Okay.
Okay.
So D for dynamic dynamically typing. So once the time dynamic typing dynamically typed is coming to your mind, you should remember that you don't want to declare any data type. What is the data type all about?
Okay.
Then E 4E should come. EC extensible, expressive and embed. Okay, and F comes your free and open source. G comes your GUI programming. H comes your high level language. I comes your interpreted language. O is an object oriented programming language. P is a portable, and L is a large library. You just keep it as a library. Okay, so you can just do something there, like write something over there.
Okay.
Is it clear? Do you want
Yeah.
2 minutes to make it, keep it in your memory, or shall I proceed?
I think can proceed.
Okay. Good. So these are the advantages of Python. Okay. So platform independent. Any idea what do you mean by a platform?
Platform. I think I've heard about this. Like Python can be used in any of the platforms, like Linux or like Windows.
Very
Or
good. Okay.
yeah.
Python is an sorry, platform is an operating system. Okay.
Okay.
So if you are using Windows operating system, you can use Python. You can install Python. Mac, in the sense, you can install Python. Linux, all are operating system. Okay. How you are operating all these things into your thing. So if you there are few tools where you can only use it in Windows. There are few which you can only use it in Linux. Likewise, it is not specific to any other platform. It is open to everything.
Okay.
Okay, so it is a readability. Like it's like an English instruction. A is equal to 5, B is equal to 6, sum is equal to A plus B. It's very simple to understand. Okay,
Okay.
again it comes like object oriented programming language. You can write, it's an object oriented, higher productivity. So Python, because you don't wanted to start with a big libraries, it's not much complex, so you can easily simply just write, just like that you can write Python and easily bring up this. Okay, and less learning time. You don't have much time, you don't require much time to understand it. GUI programming, ample availabilities of library, syntax highlighting. Okay, you can easily understand the syntax as well. So any question, if they ask what is Python, or even if it is a feature, or even if it is a advantages, you can find there are repeated points are coming up, right? GUI, platform
Right.
independent, yeah, object oriented. Okay, so you can
Okay.
just write according to that.
Okay.
Okay, and the limitation, there are few drawbacks for Python as well. What are those things? It's a speed. Okay,
Okay.
sometimes even Python is slower than C or C++, because since it's a high level languages, it is not much closer to any hardware. If you take
Okay.
C++, you have to install something only in that editor you can execute C. But
Okay.
Python is not like that. You can write it any, like you can even download an exe file, or even you can use a online version to use it. So there are various things where you can use Python. So it has the speed as a limitation.
Okay.
Next one is mobile development. With Python, as I told, you can create a GUI, you can create an app, everything, but you cannot use it for mobile development. Okay,
Oh.
mobiles, like mobile app creations, right? There are various languages which supports mobile app, but here you cannot do it for mobiles.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, and memory consumption, it's a very memory, why it's a memory consumption, because it's a dynamically typed language, right? We are not telling that what is the data type for this, we are not telling it, so it will dynamically allocate it.
Okay.
Okay, so memory consumption, database access. Python has only few database access. Database, any idea what is a database?
No, I'm not very sure about the
Okay,
definition.
no problem. So here, imagine I am just creating an account. Okay,
Okay.
I'm typing everything. Where it is actually saving, where it is going. So if I'm give like Gomati, yes, I'm giving my first name, I'm giving my birthday, I'm giving my gender, everything. exactly where it is saved, how it is bringing all the relevant details about you. Like once you enter your username and password, how it is exactly taking logging into your account and showing all the relevant emails which has been received for you, like which has been for you, which is for you.
Like it saves it in its own folder, like that we can't access. It gets
Yes,
information from everyone and
yes, it's
everyone's there.
actually stored it in a table. Okay,
Okay.
in a table format. So how it actually looks like is what, see, what is the first thing which you saw, your first name and the last name, right?
Yeah.
So in the back end there will be some table like this. Okay, it's not an excel table. Okay, it's, we call it as a
Okay.
database, the base for all the data.
Oh,
Okay, first name, last name, so they'll be stored it in the table. And then what it asks for, day, birth date, right? Your year, month, and birth date, day. Okay, and then it is asking for the gender, and then it will ask you for, like, it will check based on your birthday, it will check whether you are above 18 or not, above 16 or not.
yeah.
Okay, and then it will ask for preferred email id, what email id you want, and based on that it will pick up the username for you. And then it will ask you for the password and confirm password, right?
Yeah.
So all these things will be saved in the backend. For example, first name, you are giving your first name as something, and last name, okay, you are just giving your last name, your year, you are entering your year, your month, your day, your gender, whatever, like preferred email ID, for example, saha at the rate gmail.com, and username I'm just giving SSS, something like this. Okay, and password, you are typing something, and password. So once you are giving all these things, it will be saved there. If I'm giving, okay, so all these things are saved as a single table.
Oh, okay.
When you are using your username and password, it will go and fetch your record, and it will show your relevant emails, whatever you are receiving, it will show all these things to you.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Okay, so even if it is a 1 lakh customers, 1 lakh clients, or 1 lakh, it will be stored like this as a table format. Okay, this is what we call it as a database, where it is actually stored in the backend. Okay, and everybody cannot see it, only the authorized person can see that.
Okay.
Okay, so database access is limited to this. If you are using Python, your database access is very limited to that. Okay, and finally, runtime errors. There are, because since it's a dynamically typed language, it will not show error on your screen, it will just show you during the runtime.
Okay.
Okay, these are the limitations of Python: speed, mobile development, memory consumption, database access, and runtime errors.
Okay. Also,
Okay.
for because I was wondering if like Android is like one of the platform it can be used.
Yes. Android is your mobile app. For mobile, we have a separate OS, and for laptops, we have a separate OS. Okay,
Okay.
based on your processor. Like once if you open your laptop, please don't try to open and see. You can just you can see in the virtual any website. I will check and let you know. So you can see inside your laptop, you can see motherboard, your processor, your RAMs, everything, right? So
Yeah.
based on the capacity of your hardware, your software will be sorry, say based on the capacity of your hardware, your OS will be designed. So for your laptop, it's a Windows, Mac, Linux, something. If it is your mobile phone, it is like Android. You can find in the App Store. For Apple, you have a separate OS,
Yeah.
Android OS, like that. So yes, what you asked is correct. So based on mobile and your laptop and tab, your OS differs.
Okay.
Okay, so shall we install Python? Actually, you can use Python without installing. If you have your what to say, if you have your memory in your laptop, we can try installing it. Or if you wanted to use it online, I can tell you how to use it. If you have already installed, I will tell you how to use it online. Do you want to
Okay.
install?
I'll just use it in online for the like for now, and then I'll install it later. Maybe.
You know how to install?
Yeah. I do.
Okay then. Okay, fine then. I'll show you the online editor. Just to type Google Colab. Okay, Google Colab is an online interactive Python editor for by Google. Okay, by Google they have developed this. This is the open source, like anybody can use it. Okay, just type collab.research. I'm just sending it in the chat. You can just click this collab.research.google.com.
Okay.
Okay, you have to sign in. Okay, you have to sign in using your Gmail ID.
Okay.
Let me know once you have signed in, or if you are facing any issues, you can just let me know.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm seeing your exercise. Any exercise is given in your book. You just open and let me know whether you can access that or not.
Yeah, I can access it. But I should sign in first, right?
Yeah, yeah, you have to sign in. I'll show you like how to use it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I've signed in.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
It asked
So yeah, tell me.
like open a new notebook.
Yes, you have to go to the file. So here you have file, and then you can click new notebook in Drive. So this will be stored in your Drive, your Google Drive. Okay, whatever the code you are entering, that will be stored in your Drive.
Okay.
Okay, so let it open.
And yeah, right now I'm like connected in my iPad. So like if I
Okay.
have to like open it there, I'll have to keep switching between, your
Okay,
web
okay. You
page.
can listen and let me, you can try later in that
Okay.
case.
Yeah, I'll try it later and
Uh,
then let you know how if I have
okay.
any.
Yes, 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 yes. I'll show you how to do that. Okay.
Okay.
So before that, do you know what is IDLE? Here they have mentioned about IDLE, right? What is
Yeah.
IDLE?
It's like you have to create. I know how to like do the what ID like idle is, but I can't define it.
Okay. So IDLE is an integrated development learning environment. Okay. What is that? Because like whenever you are trying a new thing, any new language, they have their own editor try. Okay.
Okay.
Integrated development. You are going to develop your Python. So development learning environment. If you wanted to learn it, you can use this environment. That is what.
Okay.
Okay. So always whenever you wanted to download, use Python, and you just go and type Python download, you know, like you have to download this. So this is your Python homepage. Okay, here you can see what is the latest version of Python. This is the latest version of Python.
Okay.
Okay, 3.14. So you can be ready with answering these questions.
Okay.
Okay. So what is the latest version of Python? You can just go and type Python. You can see what is this, and you can find this is the pre-release. So usually what they will do is first they will give you the beta version of everything. Okay,
Okay.
alpha version they'll be having alpha version, beta version, and then they will release it generally. So pre-release in the sense, what like before sending that to all the public, so they will just release it and find whether they are facing any challenges in that, whether it has any issues with that.
Okay. So it's like a
Okay.
trial before like
Yeah,
they
it's like
actually release.
exactly, it's a like a trial version.
Okay. Yeah.
So you cannot complain if something is not working. You cannot go and complain. So they you can raise it, you can submit it like, yes, these are the things which I couldn't do it, so they will just make it.
Okay.
Okay, and you can see it, you will be facing some often terminologies like PEP means Python enhancement proposal.
Yeah.
Okay, and you will also be hearing about PIP. Okay,
Okay.
PIP means package installer in Python. Package installer.
Okay. Package install.
Yes, PIP package installer, and PEP is X enhancement, Python enhancement.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how your Python shell will look like. I think in your school you have to go with the Python ideally. Okay, so you just
Okay.
ask and let me know. I'll also, if you want, I can also install and show you how you can work in this.
Okay. Right
Okay.
now we have in the lab we have opened shell and idle.
Okay. So they are using idle.
Yeah, they're using idle.
Then shall I show you how to install and do it?
Yeah, sure.
So if you want to install, you have to go here. Okay, python.org download. So you maybe, are you receiving my chat? Everything?
Yeah, I've been receiving.
Yeah. So you can see here, this is how we can go, and you can see Python 3.135. This is the version. Okay. So 13 is the, as I told, no, this is the pre-release, so you cannot download this version. Like if you
Okay,
wanted to download it is like of your own risk. It's a testing
okay,
environment. So
okay,
once you click download, your Python might have downloaded in your downloads file. So this is your downloaded Python.
okay,
Okay, ensure that you are using a 64-bit laptop. Okay, this is for 64-bit. So just click here, either right click and s- select this, run as an administrator. Okay, this is one way. Okay, right click and run as an administrator. It will run the entire, it will install all your executables, or else you can double click and do it if it is your own system.
okay,
Okay, so it will ask you where you have to install. This is a default directory if you wanted to install. Okay, if you wanted to customize the installation, like if you wanted to locate it in a different location like D drive or E drive, any other drive, you can choose this customize installation.
okay,
Okay, and here you have use admin privileges when installing Python. Add Python exe to the path. It is always good to enable this. Okay, add python.exe to the path.
okay,
Okay, and use admin privileges when installing. You can also enable this and then click install now.
okay,
Then it will show you some dialog box. Just press S. It will start installing for you. So it will install all these things for you. Test suite, everything.
okay,
So this will create this, this will show you like what are the various basic things which should be installed, like TD, Bootstrap, PIP, Bootstrap. This is what I mentioned, PIP. Okay, Python
okay,
installer for thing like Python install. If you wanted to install something, you have to use this PIP for sure.
okay,
It's a package installer for Python.
okay,
Okay, so now it is installed, setup was successful. So you can see all these things, just click close. And once it is installed, just go to the search bar here. Okay, and then type IDLE. Okay, you can see your IDLE Python is coming up here.
okay,
Okay, and if anyone is asking for what is the version you are using, so you can use this version, you can say this, okay, 3.13 is your version.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you can just click IDLE. So what is IDLE?
I wait. Okay. Integrated Development Learning Environment.
Very good, integrated development learning environment. So 1 minute, let me just make it bigger. Okay, edit. Okay, I think it's in a different shell. Okay, so okay, I hope this is visible, right? So this is
Yeah.
your ideally. So here you can see what is the version of your Python, and when like this is, you can see your Win32. So it shows something like on Windows 32, how it has worked, or like what is the operating system. And if you wanted to get the help, you can just type help and enter. It will give you more information. Okay, here is where you have to start typing your code.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what actually they have mentioned here. So when you open any Python, you can find three greater than symbol. Okay, this is where you have to enter your command. You have to start entering your command.
Okay.
Okay, this is what they call it as a command line interaction. Fine. So it's very simple. Just they have mentioned, they have started like hello. Um, Okay, it shows syntax error. Why? Any idea why it shows a syntax error?
Because we have not, the double quotes are not applied for
Very
the
good.
coding land and
Very
like,
good. This is what we call it as a syntax. Okay. Every Python, every code has its own syntax. Okay. Syntax in the sense there is some rule for creating or writing your code.
okay,
Okay. Like you can think about a grammar. Every language has its grammar, right? Your Tamil,
yeah,
your English, whatever you take. Likewise, it has a syntax. So whenever you open something, you have to close that. Okay, so hello world, usually we will print, always we will print the hello world as your first thing. Okay, so that is the hello world, displaying a hello world. So likewise you can just use print. Print is a function. Okay, so what do you mean by the function? See, if you wanted to do something in an easiest way, if you have a function, it is easy to do it. Okay, anything, if it has an open parenthesis, this is, we call it as a parenthesis. Okay, so parenthesis, you can find it in your number 9 and 0. 9 is an open parenthesis and 0 is the close parenthesis.
okay,
Okay, so if you want, if you are using, even if you are creating a function, this is, we call it as a built-in function. Okay, what is this? This is a built-in. Built-in in the sense, whenever a Python is installed, it has some own functions which is already created, will be available for you.
okay,
Okay, so you can define some function. Like if you wanted to create your own function, you can define it. That we will call it as a user defined function.
okay,
We will learn this user defined function later. So built-in functions are which always has some open parenthesis and close parenthesis.
okay,
And inside that you will be passing some thing which we call it as a parameters.
okay,
Okay, so if I press the enter, you can see the same thing is displaying here. Hello, Sahana. Okay, so
yeah,
whatever, like directly you can type it, and even inside the function, you can type it.
okay.
Any doubt till this?
No, I understand it.
Okay, so this is what they have mentioned. Print is they use it as a command. They are just telling it, but it's a function. Okay, print is a function which is defined to display a specific content. If you want to display something, you can use print. Okay,
Okay,
so if I'm typing print, and inside that if I'm typing 5 plus 6, so it will print 11.
okay,
Okay, so anything, whatever you want to display something, if you are giving it inside the double quotes, that will be considered as a string and it will display as such. For example, if I am typing print inside the double quotes, if I am typing 5 plus 6, it will display exactly 5 plus 6,
okay, yeah,
because it is considering as a double quotes. It is considering as a string.
okay,
Okay, so that is why it is, we call it as a like we can easily display something in using the help of the print.
okay,
Okay, that is what they have mentioned here. So while you are printing, it's a built-in method. So this is what I told. Here they will use function and method interchangeably. Both are same. Okay,
okay,
method is also same. Function is also same. Don't
okay,
confuse with that. And print is just a word. Okay, it's print. If you are just giving print, which means that it is just a word. P is a capital letter, right?
yeah,
We are using a P as a capital letter. So if you use this, it will tell you P is not defined.
okay.
Okay, it's not defined in the sense it's trying you. Why it is showing it is not defined? Any idea?
Because like Python is case sensitive and it only like
Yes.
command like just gives it back when it's like print is in lower case.
Very good. Print is in a lowercase, but why it is showing not defined? Because it is, since you have used a capital letter, it is trying to find whether it is a variable. You can declare capital letter pre-print as a variable.
Yeah,
Okay, that is why it is telling you haven't defined any variable, but you are trying to execute it. So that is why it is asking print is not. And then it is showing, did you mean print? Small letter print. Okay, this is just it's asking you whether are you trying to give something different. Okay, so instead of this double quotes, you can also use the single quotes. Both single quotes and double quotes are for string, but there is a difference. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to print something like, okay, welcome to Goms um, learning. Okay, learning development, something. I'm just typing. So here, actually, what I have used it, I have used a single quotes inside. Okay, this is also a
Yeah.
single quote. For us, in English, it's a apostrophe, something. But here it's a single quote. Okay, so if I am starting here with the single quote, once it is finding another single quote, it means that you are closing that.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay, so whenever you wanted to add or display, like if you want to display something inside your double quotes with a single quotes or something, you have to start with a double quote.
Okay.
Then you can see the exact thing coming up.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, so you can use it, but use wisely.
Okay.
You can also use like this print 5 star 5 plus 6 minus 10, something like this. Okay, this is a simple expression. This we call it as an expression.
Okay.
Okay, can you tell me like how this will be evaluated?
First, the parentheses 5 plus
Very
6.
good. Okay, so this we call it as a board mass rule. Okay. Okay, so what is this board mark? Brackets. Whatever is there inside a bracket will be executed first, and then brackets of division. Okay, and then
Okay.
division, and then multiplication, and then addition, and then subtraction.
Okay.
If the bracket is not provided, then it will start with first, it will execute the division, multiplication, addition, subtraction.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the usual rule and it will starts with the bracket. Though it is finding multiplication is the first thing, whenever it finds a bracket, this will be executed first.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, and to repeat the command Alt P to save time. Okay, if you wanted to use the same thing, you can just press Alt P if you wanted to repeat it, the same command.
Okay.
Okay, if you type Alt P, it will give you Alt P. Okay, it will give you
Okay.
the same command. So this one you can get it in your maybe if you have a multiple choice question, you can get it. Okay,
Okay. Yeah. I don't it down.
yeah, Alt P. Remember that. So even I will also note it down. You keep a note with you. Do you have a note with you?
Yeah, I've been taking notes. The points you
Okay.
said important.
Okay. So just to make a in the last page, let us note all the shortcuts.
Okay.
Okay, just open your last page and start writing like Alt P, which is to repeat the previous command. Only it will repeat the previous command. Okay, fine. And then the next one is your, okay, it's not clearly showing up here. I'll just open it. Okay, so the next one is your, okay, whenever we are just printing your 10 comma, for example, if I'm printing print 10 comma 20 comma 30. So what happens? It will defaultly print some spaces for you.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't want to say that this is my this is how you have to print it. Okay, because it has a space for you. And if you wanted to bring in something else, okay, so for example, instead of the space, you wanted to bring something like 20 comma 30 comma sep is equal to star. Okay, I'm just printing star. So what it will do, it will print us this SEP means separator.
Okay.
Okay, it is separating. How you have to separate it? So let me just go ahead and type help. One minute. Help PRANT. Okay, so invalid syntax. Fine. So let us just check it here. A print function syntax in Python. Okay, so this is the Python. Okay, this is what the complete syntax of Python. Okay, Python print function. So what is this basically? So if object is whatever you're typing in, right? Like if you wanted to print your a plus b, or if you wanted to print your string or something, whatever you wanted to print, you have to give it first.
Okay.
Okay, and then next comes your separator. Like how you wanted to separate it. That is what we have entered here. How you wanted to separate it, we have entered here. It should be star. Okay, and end optionally if you wanted to define a new line. For example, if I give like print 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma separator, if you wanted to give some different separator here like ampersand, and then you can use the end slash n, which will be like uh,
Oh, it's
okay, capital
include.
letter.
Yeah.
Alt p. uh, Alt p, right? Why my alt p is not again coming? Okay, fine. Okay, so you can see it is coming up to the next line. Okay, if you wanted to feed some new line, if you want to feed a new line, you can use this slash n. This we call it as an escape sequence.
Okay.
Okay, and if you wanted to print, if you want to get any file, you can also use this file as a param. So these are the parameters I told you, right? Inside any function, if you open something, inside any function, whatever you are passing, those things we call it as a parameter.
Okay.
Okay, beyond these things like separator, it has end, it has file and flush, right? If I'm using something beyond this, for example, if I'm typing, if this is a parameter object, I can pass the object, and in the second line, I'm just simply typing like ampersand. Okay, what it will show this as an invalid syntax because it is not finding that parameter in the next time. Okay, so and
Yeah.
it should be in this order. You have to, if the objects are passed, then you have to go with the separator and then end and then file and then flush. If you
Okay.
change the order, it will get confused. So it will be expecting what you are trying to give next.
Okay.
Okay, so this is print function. Okay, so next one is okay, parameter, end parameter. This all things we discussed. And then okay, so in your file, in your idle, so you have to also see about these things. Okay, these all are, we call it as a menu.
Okay.
Okay, these are all the menu bar and these are all the menus. Okay, file menu, basically it provides, if you just click on this file menu, you can see it provides all the different options like your file, new file. If you wanted to create a new file, you can simply select this file and click new file. You can see a new file will be opened. Okay, it's a Python file. Here you can see it's a Python. Okay,
Okay.
and you have all these options like open. If you wanted to open an existing Python file, you can open it, and recent file, recently used file, browser, path browser, save, if you want to save this, if you want to save as. So all these basic things will be there in your file.
Okay.
Next comes your edit. Okay, edit is your next menu. So if you just click on this edit, you can see undo, redo, select all, cut, copy, paste. If you want to cut it, copy it, find any word inside. So all these things comes under the edit menu, which allows you to edit the text, whatever you have typed in your shell.
Okay.
And next comes your debug. Okay, shell and the debug. So it this is actually useful when you are using, when you are writing a multi-level means multi-line code. Okay, this can use easily if you want to restart the shell sometime, if it is going wrong or something, you can use this. Just go ahead and click what are the various options in these menu. That's it. Okay, don't worry too much about it. Okay, and what they have written. Okay, fine. So in your idle, okay, this is your any doubt till this?
No, I don't have
Okay,
any.
very good. In your idle, you can only print line by line. Okay, like if you just type, for example, if I wanted to add two numbers, okay, if I'm entering a is equal to 5. So next it will ask the next line a b is equal to 6. Okay, and the sum is equal to a plus b, something like that. Okay, and print sum. So what happens? You have to enter it one by one. Instead of this, what you can do is you can just go to the editor. This is an interactive shell mode. Okay,
Okay.
if you wanted to go to the script mode, then you have to go to this file, click this file and click new file. You can see that your file is here.
Yeah.
Okay, let us just type something here in like the same thing. So I'm just typing. Okay, let us try to get the data from the user. So a is equal to int of um, input, enter the value for a, enter the value for first number. Okay, and then you have to close. Whenever you are opening the parameters, it should have a equal close. Okay, likewise I'm just copying this. B is equal to enter the value for the second number, and then sum is equal to a plus b and print sum. Okay, I'm just saving this. So once if you go to the file and click save, so it will ask you where you wanted to save it. Okay, you can locate it wherever you wanted to go. It's good to save it in the same path. Okay, here is where your Python is installed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm creating a new folder here, and let us make it a CBSE 11. Okay, so and then I want to save it as first program. Okay, there's add two numbers. Give a proper name for any file so that you can refer it later.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the extension. How it will be stored? .py. Okay, by default it has Python file. If you are storing it in text file, it won't, you cannot execute it because it should be in a proper extension.
Okay.
So let us just make it as Python file. Just click save. You can see here on the top it is stored as add two numbers .py.
Yeah.
Okay, you have saved it now. Now you wanted to execute it. Fine. So how can you execute? You have two options. Either I think can click F5. Once if you click F5, it will automatically brings you to your ideally like your command shell prompt. Okay, so now you can see it is asking for enter the value for first number. So I wanted to enter 25. Then it will ask you enter the value for second number. I'm just entering something. So it is showing me 103. Okay, it is adding two number and it is showing the output for this. Okay, let me explain the code here. So what I'm doing is what I wanted to get the data from the user. Okay, I don't want to go with the direct static number like this. Okay, this is a static number. We have entered 5 and 6.
Okay.
Okay, instead I wanted to get the data. So you have to use this function. This is another function. I told you, right? Whenever you are creating, whenever it's a function you are using, it should start with an open parenthesis and it should end with a close parenthesis. And inside you have to pass a parameter.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have passed a parameter. And why I'm giving this int? Because
Int.
yes, whenever you're getting an input, it will consider that as a string. Okay,
Okay.
let us just delete this. Okay, let me just delete this int and let us try this, what it is showing. Okay, let me just control S. I have saved it and I am pressing close. Okay, unmatched. Okay, so it is asking for the number 2578. So it is printing 2578 because it is
Oh.
considering this as a string value.
Okay.
Now, if I give int, what it will happen? It will convert. It will first get the value. Okay, first it will get the value and then it will convert it into an integer value.
Okay. I have a question.
Yeah.
So, for example, a person is trying to make a website, and first, when for example, when we were like doing that Gmail, that homepage thing, like we were typing in our name,
Hmm.
maybe for A they say input without adding the integer, so that the first name will be string, and then the second name will be string, and then next for the date of birth, I think they'll like maybe like type in integer or like
Yes.
float.
Their data type, they have to get it as a string, or
Okay.
you have a date. Like if you go in very detailed manner, it will be like a date data. Even for date, we have a date data type.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So if you think about a username, it will be like a combination of your name and some number, your some alphabet, like some special characters, right? So that two will be considered as a string.
Okay.
Okay, this thing, for example, if you are typing something like this, okay, your username. Let me take my username. So 14 star dollar. So this two is considered to be a string. Okay, this
Okay.
is a string. Okay, even this is the string. Okay, this cannot be categorized as a special character. This is also a string.
Okay.
When you are purely entering a number, this is considered to be a number, integer.
Okay.
And when you are purely using some decimal points, this is considered to be a float or a double or something. Okay, because it involves some decimal places, right? Some
Yeah.
point you are just keeping it. And when you are using gom.14, like what happens, this too will be considered as a string, because your dot is also a special character here considered. When you are using a string, when you are using a dot, and when you are using a number, this entire thing will be considered as a string.
Okay.
Okay, so you should be very careful. Sometimes you're passing it should not confuse. So better declare it as a string and then bring it.
Okay.
Okay, so let us just try to execute the same in our visual. Okay, so this is, I'm just giving the code here. Okay, this is your A, and how, let us see how it is executed in the back end of your Python. Okay, so once you enter some number here, so what happens, your number will be first stored in this variable A.
Yeah.
Okay, and you are entering some other value here. Your B, another number, whatever you're storing will be in the B, and it will find the sum of both,
Okay.
and finally it will print the output in your idle cell.
Okay.
Okay, so now you may see that it is your input, it is getting very nearly, like after the number immediately you have to enter the data here. So if you
Yeah.
want to give some space, you can just make a colon and a space. Whatever you are entering inside the double quotes will be considered as such.
Okay.
Okay, and even here the sum of the two numbers are something like this, colon, and then, okay, so this will be printed, and then you have to go ahead with comma sum, because you want to print that, right? You wanted to print the exact value here. Y- So whatever you are giving inside the double quotes will be exactly printed.
Okay.
Okay, but you wanted to print something, like for example, if you wanted to print something inside, then you have to tell that, okay, sum, I wanted to print this sum.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just save this and execute it. So now you can see it is getting the data it properly. Okay, so I'm just typing something here, so it is printing it.
Okay.
Okay, this is the variable. Okay, this is the variable. You have to tell that I wanted to print the variable. If you are not adding this, what will happen, your variable will not be printed, your sum will not show it. Like whatever you enter, it will just display like this.
Okay.
Okay, you have to tell what you wanted to print.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Fine, so comma, you have to separate this with a comma. If I'm not separating this with a comma, then what happens, it will throw you error.
Okay.
Okay, because inside the print, if you are typing something like this, it will expect that you are typing a different one. So you have to separate it with a comma and then print it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to try, or you are what you have to do is what you have to try this, and you should send me the screenshot later. Okay, so
Yeah,
that you
sure.
will have your you will have that confidence like you have tried it.
Okay.
So if you want to execute in your online like Google Colab, you can just go here. Can see it's a start coding. Okay, so you can just click code, paste it, the same thing, and then you have to press this play button.
Okay.
Just press play, it will execute and it will ask you like how it has asked you in the idle. Like it will ask you enter. Okay, so it is asking for entering the first number 1 2 3 something, and if once if you press the enter, it will ask you for the next number until you are until this complete code is executed. You will be seeing this something running. Okay,
Okay.
okay, and I have declared the sum as a small letter, and then I have declared I'm trying to print it a capital letter sum, so it is showing that error.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how you can try uh, Python code here.
Okay.
Okay, I think your third chapter is over. So in this, I'll be sending you the some questions. You just try to execute it and send it to me.
Okay.
Shall we go to the next one? Do you need any break or something?
No, I think I'm doing it.
Okay,
We can
very
continue.
good. So let us just go ahead with the next one, which is a Python programming fundamental. In the like previously we discussed about what is a shell, what is scripting. Okay, this is if you want to open a script, you have to open the new file and then you can write the script there.
Okay.
Okay, now we'll be understanding about the Python character set.
Okay.
Okay, what is this Python character set is what? That is what we have discussed. You have letters. Okay, if it is a letters, it is like capital A to Z and small a to Z, which we call it as a letter.
Okay.
Okay, this is the letters. And if you see digits, digit in the sense number, it is 0 to 9. Like whatever it comes in, if it is like a 0 to 9, it's a digit.
Okay.
And the special characters, okay, all these things other than those letters and the thing we call it as a special characters, like just look into your if you have a laptop, you can see on the top you can find 1 2 3 4 5 6 is a number, whereas if you use a shift button and use it like exclamatory symbol in your one, you will be having an exclamatory symbol at the rate,
Yeah.
hash, dollar, everything are considered to be the special character.
Okay.
Okay, just press shift, and if you type whatever you type, you can see these all are special characters.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can see a white space. White space, if you want to go with a new line or something, white space, you will be using this slash.
Okay.
Okay, this we call it as a this usually we call it as a uh, what to say like Uh, okay, so I'll just find a correct word for you. This once if you press this backslash, okay, and then press T, it is considered to be a tab space. Tab space means 8 space bar. If you type space bar 8 times, it is a tab.
So it's an escape sequence.
Yeah, it's an escape sequence exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so if you press slash and press N, it is a new line. Okay,
Okay.
if you want to display 8 spaces, then you can make it as a tab. Tab means 8 spaces and new line.
Okay.
Okay. And other characters you just go and type here ASCII, ASCII. Okay. So you can see nearly 256 ASCII tables. That is for capital letter and the small letter. And for each and every character, whatever the buttons are there in your laptop, you have an ASCII character for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what is that ASCII? Any idea?
No, I'm not
Okay,
very
no
sure.
problem. So ASCII is an American standard code for information interchange. Okay, it's an American American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So what does it mean? See, we are using English keyboard. Okay, imagine someone who don't know English, they are using a Tamil keyboard.
Okay.
You have various languages of keyboard, right? You might
Yeah.
have seen or you might have heard about it. How your computer will understand what you're typing? No, that is why they have created this American Standard Code for Information Interchange, where you, for each and every button, you have a common code. Okay. See,
Okay.
for A, instead of A in the same place, you may have A, which is in Tamil or which may be in Hindi.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it is A, then this should be your this should be your America like a ASCII code. Okay, this is a decimal number. This is a binary. This is a hex code.
Okay.
Okay, and then if you press a space, even for space you have a ASCII code. Okay, if you just check here, you can see, yeah, for space, if someone is selecting the space, if they want to use the space, it has the backend code. It will be converted into this.
Okay.
Okay, for the computer, it has to understand, right? So that is why they have created a standard code to understand everything.
Okay.
Okay, so all the 256 characters are there for you. Okay, if you are asked with what are the characters set in Python, you have to write all these things. Okay, letters, numbers, letters, digits, special characters, white space, and other ASCII characters.
Okay.
Okay, these are all the character set.
Um,
So next comes your tokens. Okay, tokens are the smallest elements of Python programming. For example, why this token is required? That is, the Python should understand. Python has to understand, right? So this is
yeah.
the language. Python is a language. How a computer can understand Python? So we have a specific token for that, which is like a keywords. Okay, I'll tell you everything. Keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, and punctuation. See, this character set is common. Okay, this is a common thing. Even you take anything, even if we are speaking, we are using these letters, digits, and everything, right? But
Yeah.
how will you convey this to Python? That is why they have created this token.
Okay.
Okay, so if it is a keyword, so what is the keyword here? Your print is a keyword. Cap small letter print is a keyword. Why?
Okay.
Because we have used that to display something, right? It's a function.
Yeah.
Likewise, input is a keyword. Okay,
Okay.
we have used input. Int is a keyword. Int function, we have used it here.
Yeah.
Okay, sum is a keyword. Okay, sum is an identifier here. Okay, sum is not a keyword. So here what happens? Keywords are the inbuilt, which are already taken by Python. While
Okay.
designing a Python, they have already used these words. So we should not use this word to declare something. For
Okay.
example, while if instead of this is a variable, I told, right? This is a variable. A is a variable. Instead of
Yeah.
this, I should not use int.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Okay. Instead of this, I should not use print, because these are all the keywords which are reserved words. We call it as a reserved one by Python. Okay. Instead, you can use this one. Capital print is fine. Okay. Small print is not fine.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's already reserved as a function.
Yes, exactly. So these are the things which we call it as a keyword, because it's a reserved word which has the special meaning in Python.
Okay.
Special and fixed meaning in Python. அதுக்குன்னு தனியா ஒரு வேர்டே இருக்கு. So you should not use that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just stop with this. Okay, like punctuation, I'll just complete till the punctuation, and then we will see any possible. When is your exam?
My 1 second. I'll just check it. My computer science exam is on 30th.
30, right? So we have time. Yeah.
Okay.
So next comes then identifier. Okay. You can also identifier is also another word for variable.
Okay.
Okay, how we are going to identify something, like if I want to store something, how I am going to identify it, how I am going to store it, that is what identifier we call it as.
Okay.
Okay, so it may be any variable, any constant, anything which starts, even here actually they will call it as this as an identifier which has a special meaning. Okay, print
Okay.
is an identifier, so this is an identifier function, this is an inbuilt function, something you are identifying. Okay,
Yeah.
if you are creating an identifier, you have some rules to create it. Okay, it should be meaningful.
Okay.
It should start with some character like A, B, okay, like A, B, C, or some character like this, or with some underscore. You can even start with an underscore, but you should not start with number.
Okay.
Okay, so that is your first one. Your first character of an identifier should start with a character or an underscore. No special characters. Expect underscore. For example, if I wanted to create this one, okay, if I wanted to create this identifier as a sum of a variable, sum of two numbers, for
Okay.
example, okay, so you should not do like this. Sum of numbers is equal to a plus b.
Okay.
Okay, if you wanted to create a variable like this, you have to go with an underscore. Sum of number. You can make
Okay.
it. If you want to leave some space, you can leave this, instead of the space, you have to use the underscore.
Okay.
Okay, like this.
Okay.
And then reserved words. As I told, you cannot use this keywords. Keywords are the reserved words. You may get a question like what are reserved words in Python, which means a keyword.
Okay.
Okay, you should not use reserved word while declaring an identifier. When you are declaring an identifier, you should not use the reserved words.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, space is strictly not allowed, and you should not use any other special characters. Okay, and
Okay.
this sum of number is different, and this sum of number is different, which means that I'm trying to tell that capital letter, it's a case sensitive. So
Yeah.
even only one word we have changed it, this variable is different and that variable is different.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just typing some random literals. Just let me know, sorry, random identifier. Let me know whether it is a correct or not.
Okay. No, it's not a
Very good.
identifier. Uh, no, I don't think it's an identifier.
Very good. Why?
It has the dollar symbol.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's an identifier.
Very good. Okay, so this is an identifier. So you may get a question like find the correct identifier or find the wrong identifier, something like that.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is the literal. What do you mean by this literal? Which is a fixed number. You can talk a literal as a numbers. Okay, I told you about integer, right? Here they are talking
Yeah.
it as an literal.
Okay.
Okay, so a fixed numeric, it may be a numeric or non-numeric value, which we call it as a literal.
Okay.
Numeric or a non-numeric value, but it should be fixed one.
Okay.
Okay, so it you can define that as a number, or you can define that as a text, or you can even any other data it may be, which to be stored in the variable, which we call it as a literal.
Okay.
Okay, so like for example, a is equal to computer is a literal.
Okay.
Okay, so like this, even it may be a string or something.
Alright.
Okay, so what is not a literal? If you are not, if it cannot identify a value, which is called as a non-literal. Okay, we
Okay.
will face that when we are creating something. Okay,
Okay.
and next comes your operators. So what are the operators? You have various types of operators. Okay, so main, like we'll be using a plus, your asterisk, division, minus, like a subtraction, and modulus. These are the default use operator. Other
Okay.
than that, we have various other operators like relational operator, that they will be adding, I think. Okay, like a greater than. If you want to find the greater than value, less than value, you will be
Yeah.
using a relational operator like that.
Okay.
Okay, and the last comes your punctuation. Okay, punctuation are like your parenthesis. If you are using a open and close parenthesis, if you are using a square bracket, okay, these brackets we will use it often. Open parenthesis, close parenthesis, and curly braces. Okay, this curly braces you can see it in your next to your key in your laptop.
Okay.
Okay, this we will call it as curly brace. Few will say this as a flower bracket. Okay, it's not commonly
Okay.
used, but few may say this as a flower bracket. And this is the square bracket. Okay, square. So because it has some, okay, square bracket, and this is the parenthesis.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the punctuations which they will use, and then you can also add comma, because here we used comma, right, to separate your string and a variable. Okay, they'll be
Yeah.
using a comma. This is also a punctuation. Okay, you can use this comma, and then you can also see semicolon. Sometimes to end your statement, they may use a semicolon, and then you can also talk about the colon. Okay,
Okay.
these are all the punctuations.
Okay.
This they also call it as a delimiter. Okay, this is also a punctuation. Okay, we have objects. I think variables and data types we have already we'll discuss that. Okay, we have only few more topics to go. So in between, if you're free any day, you can just let me know, or else we can even discuss on next Sunday. Anything is fine.
Okay. Actually,
Okay, so
I'm
yeah.
after school. I'm free on Wednesdays. That's when I don't have any like special classes. So if Wednesday works for you after like five
Yeah, yeah.
o'clock.
I will let you know. Five. Okay. I'll check whether my training calendar and I'll let you know. Okay.
Okay.
So we have. I'm just wrapping up what we have discussed is the features of Python. So you
Yeah.
can see D E power 4 F G H, and then you can also think about I. Okay, till I, and then O P L. And then we discussed about the advantage. You can have multiple things from the features as well for the advantage, and limitation is like speed, mobile development, memory consumption, data access, and runtime error. And we install Python. We have IDLE, which is interactive development learning environment. It's an interpreter, like where whatever you enter, which will be converted into your computer readable language, and then it will convert back to you, and it will display you the output.
Okay.
Okay, and then we discussed about the command line interpreters, and this is the command line interpreter for us. Okay, so in the command it will execute, and then we also shifted to your script editor. Okay, we call it as a script editor, and there even you can enter your data and try to execute it. Okay, so we have discussed about the print function. I don't know whether they have introduced int function for you and input function for you, but as of now, because I want to show that to you, so I have introduced that as well to you.
Okay.
Okay, so this is your Python editor. Okay, script mode, script editor. We call it as a script editor. So this is a script mode where we have created from here file, new file, and we have entered all the multiple lines of code in a single as a single file and executed it. So to
Okay.
execute, we have used F5. Okay. F5 is a shortcut key to execute your file, or else you can go to this run and click this run module. Both are
Okay.
same.
Okay.
Okay. And Alt P is to print your, get your previous thing. Okay. So this
Okay.
is what we have learned so far. And then we have discussed about the tokens and everything. So next class, we will just discuss more about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. If you have any queries, you can ask me now, or else you can let me know. We will discuss later.
No, I'm actually clear about the topics we've learned today.
Okay, good. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.